The bank fraud statute forbids knowingly executing or attempting to execute a scheme to defraud a financial institution or obtain property owned, controlled by, or within the custody of a financial institution by means of false or fraudulent pretenses. The statute largely mirrors the mail and wire fraud statutes. In the bank fraud context, courts define scheme to defraud on a case-by-case basis. The statute imposes a mens rea of knowingly. Thus, with respect to the statute's first part, the defendant must specifically intend to defraud a financial institution. What about the second part? Several times, Kevin stole checks from residential mailboxes. Kevin altered the checks and then used them to buy merchandise at Target. Immediately afterward, Kevin returned the merchandise for cash. Target deposited the forged checks in the bank and received payment for them. Did Kevin commit bank fraud? Yes. Although Kevin didn't specifically intend to defraud the bank, he executed a scheme to obtain property owned by a bank, namely the bank's money, by false or fraudulent pretenses. Bank fraud under the statute's second prong doesn't require intent to defraud a financial institution, but it does require that a person intended to obtain a bank's property by means of a misrepresentation or false statement. That is, the false statement must have directly induced the bank to give up its property. In this example, the forged checks were false statements that directly induced the bank to give up cash. This by means of requirement isn't satisfied if the bank's involvement in the scheme is fortuitous or accidental. The government can also establish the intent element for bank fraud by showing that the defendant acted knowingly and with the specific intent to deceive for the purpose of causing his own financial gain or another's financial loss. The government commonly charges bank fraud along with mail and wire fraud. Both the mail and wire fraud statutes provide for enhanced penalties and a longer statute of limitations if the alleged fraud affected a financial institution. Courts construe the term financial institution broadly in this context.